Wild's just got a pretty substantial update that begins to directly address some of the game's key pain points, including difficulty. I'm sure a good portion of you have already read through the patch notes, so I'm not going to go through each of them one by one, I'm a bit late to that. Instead, let's look into the main bullet points and discuss the impact they've had on the game now the update is live. First up, of course, is the Street Fighter collaboration event. With what I deem to be a very creative method, this event gives us what I like to call Weapon 14.5. Going into it, we were a bit unsure as to how the combat would work with this new Akuma set, but it's actually pretty intuitive. It does take the form of an emote, however, once activated, it then gives you essentially a new set of controls that simplifies the button inputs needed to play the character. I've seen on Twitter already there's a bunch of different combos you can pull off, but personally, I've never been into any fighting game. It's just not really my thing, and that results in the gameplay you're watching. Now, seriously, I am very bad at this. But all in all, it is very cool, it's creative, the finishing move you can pull off is really cool. At first I thought it was just going to be a focus strike, but it's very different. And the best part about it is that the damage scales to the armor set and weapon you have equipped. Basically, that means you can use this to fight anything in the game, and it's viable. If you haven't hopped in to try this event, I sincerely recommend you to do so, but that's not going to be the main talking point of this video. Instead, here is the big update I want to discuss. Tempered 8-star Gormagala, Raidao, Uvduna, Nuudra and Jindahad are now available to hunt at Hunter rank 41 and higher. This means finally, the Arkveld simulation has been broken. One of the biggest things players were complaining about is that in endgame, there's no reason to fight anything other than Arkveld. And one of the main reasons for that was the amount of rewards it dropped. It was just significantly more than anything else in the game. But with this, now we're not only at equal playing field in terms of rewards, but also raw difficulty. Being as we know what regular tempered Raidao is and AT Raidao, I figured trying an 8-star tempered Raidao was the perfect in-between so I could compare with a regular tempered and the AT variant. And I'll say, the difference is very noticeable. One of the big things, which is something I actually discussed in the AT Raidao video, is its wound resistance. You'll know if you did that event, AT Raidao has such a wound resistance that you basically don't create any wounds until the latter half of the fight. And I'm happy to say that applies to these 8 stars. It took a lot of chipping away for the first wound to appear, and again, it was towards the latter half of the fight. It was noticeable that it had more HP, it's nothing groundbreaking in that sense, it maybe adds a minute or two onto the hunt. And similar with its damage too, you're still not really going to be one shot, but playing cocky and getting hit a couple extra times, you do need to be mindful of your HP bar, which is a good thing. A lot of players will probably argue that this is where monsters should have been in terms of difficulty from the very start. And if I look at it non-biased, I think I would have to agree. Even the way the scaling works with these is perfect in my opinion. Effectively, the more you increase your hunter rank, the higher possibility it becomes of a tempered 8-star spawning. Effectively meaning, once you hit endgame and you get better and better gear, you're now getting better and better decos, there is an increased chance of you fighting a harder opponent. With that, it also means the chance of you finding a quest that offers an insane amount of rewards also increases. But there's something they mention a bit later on that makes me feel positive about that. In between this and that point, there's a bunch of different quality of life stuff, improvements to the hammer, which is a big one. I've gone on record before and said that the hammer has felt weak in this game because it didn't keep up with the changes and additions other weapons got. And let's be honest, the main thing it got was its offset attack, which isn't as tactile and easy to execute as maybe the other weapons were provided. So it's great to see they're listening to player feedback, that's the key reason I'm bringing this up. The change itself is sort of minor and something we can expect them to do at any point in time. But yeah, keep giving your feedback in a mature manner, should I add. And they are taking it on board, they are listening, and there's further updates coming in Title Update 2 in this regard, so keep an eye out. Another big one we've talked about on the channel before, layered weapons will be returning in Title Update 2, so they're not in the game right now as with this patch, but in the next month or two is when we're assuming TU2 will release, we'll finally have layered. That means the arting system is here to stay, and it also means we may see further developments with the arting system, and again it ties into this thing I'm going to discuss shortly. From talking to you guys and reading comments on my layered weapons video, I think 99% of players wanted this. Again, it comes into conversation as to whether or not it should have just been in the game from the first place, and it's debatable. I would lean on the side that it probably should have been, but it wasn't the end of the world that it wasn't. So seeing it return now is positive. But here is the section I am most excited about. So the director's letter mentions that in the monsters section, even stronger monsters are planned to be added in future updates. To complement this, a new system will be added where rewards and equipment, that doesn't make sense. I think it means to say a new system will be added in which it provides rewards and equipment that allow you to diversify your skill builds can be earned. That makes no sense. Oh, it also says bolts, skill bolts, okay. Point being, what this is saying is that with the addition of more difficult monsters coming in the future, this more difficult content will provide rewards that we can use to craft better equipment, or at the very least, add additional skills onto the equipment we already have. It could be similar to the system in Sunbreak, the curio crafting. That's what that looks like to me. It could also be similar to the way it worked in Monster Hunter World Iceborne with augments. But I am sincerely excited about this, and once again, this is something we talked about in the past. It's something I talked about in my conversation with Nova Bushido as well during our live stream. I know Schmidt has also talked about it, who's a friend of the channel, and it's my biggest pain point with Monster Hunter Wilds, it's build variety. Currently, we have next to no build variety. It was improved in Title Update 1 with Zoshir, Mizu, and of course AT Raidao, but overall it's still a bit lacking. I'm very hopeful this system will directly address that problem, make build crafting and theorizing way more engaging, and potentially lend us a system that can go forward into a future expansion. Hey, maybe they're finally going to make the frenzied monsters useful, and that could be part of it, I'm not sure. All of this is extremely positive, and to be honest, I know a lot of people have a level of disdain or concern towards Monster Hunter Wilds in specific. We've talked about that a bunch here on the channel, and the discourse is ongoing to an extent. Even so, I think anyone that views this in a negative light is probably being a level of disingenuous. As mentioned, the conversation still stands as to whether or not they're finishing the game. You know, are these things that should have been here in the first place, that were only being drip fed later on? And that argument isn't insane. I think there is a level of truth to it. But let's look at what we have. Let's look at what we've already enjoyed. And just know it's improving. It's going to continue to improve in Title Update 2. The further title updates beyond that, and inevitably the expansion. Let me know what you think in the comment section about this patch, and also let me know what you think this new system is going to be. Thanks for watching.